Coming up on Our World, Supreme Court taking up the issue of whether or not businesses can refuse a customer based on their sexual orientation or preferences. We'll take a look at how this could impact discriminatory policies in America. Plus, respiratory infections on the rise, the warning from lawmakers and calls from the government to do more. And it's the world's most active volcano, a unique view of the lava flow, as the highly dangerous and toxic eruption becomes a major attraction. Welcome to Our World, I'm Stephen Walker. The Supreme Court has heard another case that pits two competing American principles against each other. On one side, a graphic designer with religious views against same-sex marriages says she shouldn't be forced by the government to take customers who want websites promoting same-sex weddings. On the other side, the question of whether LGBTQ couples have a right to receive services from private businesses free of discrimination like anyone else. The Advocate Channel's Jessica Schneider has more on what's at stake.
The Supreme Court now poised to decide whether certain businesses can refuse to work with same-sex couples on the basis of free speech.
Granting such a license to discriminate would empower all businesses that offer what they believe to be expressive services, from architects to photographers to consultants, to refuse service to customers because of their disability, sexual orientation, religion, or race.
Colorado web designer Lori Smith, who openly declares she's selective about websites she'll design, brought the case. She's asking the Supreme Court to rule that she does not have to comply with a state law that prohibits businesses from discriminating against same-sex couples.
The state of Colorado is forcing me to create custom, unique artwork, expression, communicating and celebrating a different view of marriage, a view of marriage that goes against my deeply held beliefs.
But the liberal-leaning justices expressed concern that if creators can choose their customers, discrimination could run rampant. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson asking whether a mall photographer could say only white kids can sit on Santa's lap, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor asking about interracial or physically disabled couples being turned away.
So it doesn't really, there is no line on race, there is no line on disability, ethnicity, none of the protected categories. That's in a public accommodation law.
The First Amendment is broad enough to cover the lesbian website designer and the Catholic calligrapher. The line is that no one on any side of any debate has to be compelled to express a message that violates their core convictions.
Smith says she is in the business of expressive speech, and while she's not opposed to working with same-sex couples in other areas, she argues she should be able to choose the messages she promotes, an argument some conservative justices seem to side with.
So the question isn't who, it's what.
Always.
Why are you right about how you characterize website designers? Why are they different from, say, restaurants?
Because they're creating speech. In those other examples, speech is not at issue.
The Supreme Court sidestepped this same issue 4 years ago, ruling in favor of a Colorado baker who refused to make wedding cakes for same-sex couples, but on very narrow grounds that only applied to that case.
Our rights are not up for debate.
Now the stakes are much higher, with concern building among LGBTQ advocates that a ruling for the website designer could be a harbinger for other adverse rulings.
If there were to be a loophole of the kind discussed, people with disabilities, African Americans, Jews, Muslims, others could find themselves without access to the marketplace.
Fears that the Supreme Court will roll back LGBTQ protections come after the 6-3 Conservative majority court overturned Roe v. Wade earlier this year. An urgent call is being made for federal health officials to help hospitals deal with the rise in respiratory illnesses amongst children across America. The Advocate Channel, Ivan Rodriguez, has the latest.
It's a nightmare for thousands and thousands and thousands.
As children suffer from a surge in respiratory illnesses across the nation and parents face hospitals pushed to the brink, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on the federal government to step in and help.
I've known people whose babies, only a few months old, are spending more than a week in the hospital because the babies are suffering from collapsed lungs and needed oxygen assistance to breathe. Their parents keep vigil next to the hospital bed. They don't go to sleep because they're worried their child will stop breathing and they'll miss it.
In a letter obtained exclusively by CNN, the United States Health and Human Services Secretary tells governors around the country that the Biden administration stands ready to continue assisting you with resources, supplies, and personnel.
HHS has the authority. We've given them that.
Now, as pediatric hospital beds are in short supply, so are pain medicines like children's acetaminophen and ibuprofen. Johnson & Johnson saying in a statement they are experiencing high demand and are running production sites 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to maximize production capacity.
Parents can help mitigate the spread by washing their hands and avoiding taking kids into environments where they could catch colds from others. And now, a bird's eye view of Hawaii's erupting Mauna Loa volcano. The spectacular lava flow, beautiful but destructive, now closing in on a major highway. The Advocate Channel's David Culver has more from Hawaii's Big Island.
We are on the road before sunrise, quickly realizing we can already spot our destination some 30 miles out. There you see it, that red-orange glow, Mauna Loa erupting. To give you a better view, though, we go up in the morning dark. Paradise Helicopters' Darren Hamilton, our pilot and guide, giving us rare access.
I assume we'll know when we see the volcano. Yeah, it's just on the kind of the eastern side there. At about the 1 o'clock position, that is the plume there.
Having flown in military hot zones, Darren even admits this is firepower like no other.
What was it like the first time you flew over lava? It was a blast.
It can also be challenging, especially with heavy fog or volcanic smog.
So there you can see the gases from Fissure 3.
Those acidic gases dangerous if the concentration levels are too high. On the ground, officials closely watching the lava's potential impact on Saddle Road, the main highway that connects the east and west of the island. Erupting last Sunday for the first time in 38 years, Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, is one of 5 that make up Hawaii's Big Island. And it's not the only one currently erupting. Neighboring Kilauea, also active, though no longer shooting lava to the surface like it did in 2018.
We're on Kaupili Street, which is where my house was at, and it's that way, on the opposite side of the subdivision.
Dorothy Thrall invited us to where her home now sits, buried under 60 feet of lava. You can see a metal streetlight fused into the rock. 4 years after Kilauea did this to her Leilani Estates community, she still walks it as though she's on her old street with her old neighbors.
When you have something like this, I assume you're all dispersed after that.
Yeah, we lost that sense of community, and it's what we lost, in addition to the homes.
Mauna Loa's eruption, an emotional trigger for Dorothy and others, forcing the trauma from Kilauea back to the surface. The 2018 lava flow wiped out more than 600 homes here, some untouched, but left lava-locked, an island within the island. Dorothy showed us this video she captured a few weeks back, trekking over lava rock, helping friends gather the last of their belongings from their home. The reminders of devastation here, hard to miss.
This was a home. They evacuated the second night, and I believe it went under the third night.
And just took their home?
Just took their home.
And 4 years later, it's still steaming?
It's still steaming, yep.
And how long will it steam like that?
Probably 30 to 40 years.
How is it that you can still see beauty after so much loss?
Because lava's beautiful. It's Pele's creation. That's how the island was formed. That's how the island was built.
An appreciation shared by Native Hawaiians, leaving offerings on Mauna Loa, and thousands of tourists and locals arriving past sunset just to witness the lava glow. Nighttime traffic backs up for miles. To avoid the congestion, let's get back to the skies.
That's 2,000 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 1,000 degrees Celsius. That's molten rock flowing like water.
Which has already crossed one volcano road, power lines and all. A searing slice right through it.
It's incredible the heat you feel as soon as you get close to it. And look at this, the rushing flow, I mean, the river. You see the current of lava.
Darren estimates it's moving 30 to 40 miles per hour.
But the source of it all, I mean, there's nothing like this, just viewing from the top.
As the lava approaches a highway, those in the area are concerned. If the lava crosses, the road will be impassable. Thank you for joining us for Our World. The Advocate channel is streaming now on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV and Android TV. You can also download our app on your Android or Apple devices and watch anytime at advocatechannel.com.